Good morning. I think we're live. Let's make this go. Happening now. Let's make this go. That's how we speak. Yeah, I am live now. Sorry for the delays. Let's see. Pop out the chat. Let's go. Make sure the sound is working because it always stops working for some reason. Hey, oh, we got people here already. Showcase is back. And Alec, good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Actually, I should keep that up, but on a different window, right? So if anyone's talking there, we can see it. Okay. Almost set. Almost set, I swear. Just a couple little tweaks so I can, like, see everything. And am I blinding? I feel like I'm blinding white on here. I got a new chair, by the way, so you might see that in the background. I haven't figured out how to fix that yet. I guess I could stand, but I don't want to move everything right now. Saturday morning sucks? What? You're listening to me at the gym? Oh, that's amazing. Can't wait for people to start laughing at you while you're laughing at me. All confused like. Make sure I'm not showing any personal information or no more than usual. Hello, Kate. Oh, good to see you. This is this is a good time slot. You're an Aussie, right? I think. A little faded. Yeah, it is a little faded. Okay. I can do a couple things here. Does that help? Is that better? I think that's probably better, right? Oh, wait a second. I have like different light colors I can do. There we. Oh, ooh. No, that looked good for a second. No, is that good? I don't know. Whatever. Too jacked for people to laugh. Nice, dude. Nice. Hey, DT. Wow, there's a whole lot more people here like right away than normally at night. And that's good because so at night you get like chill rise. It's been a day, it's been a week. Today you get like overly caffeinated rise that actually got a good night's sleep. So this is fantastic. I think Paris, that's right. This is even better. Oh man, I'm so jealous. I loved my trip. I went to Paris once. I went for work, but then they kicked me out of the meeting and they're like, we already paid for your ticket. You can still go. And I was like, good, because I was going to anyway, but thanks for paying for the flight. And it was like a solid 8 days in Paris. We didn't take a single taxi with the exception of getting from the airport to the hotel. Everything else was walking and it was amazing. We walked 76 miles that week. So we saw everything. It was awesome. Bored at work? You're working on a Saturday, man? Oh, that stinks. Well, at least you're here with us. Yeah, what do you do? What would you say you do here, Bob? Is the stream cutting out? Hopefully not. Okay. Much better. Same router, just instead of 5G, I'm on like the regular router. I don't know why that's a thing, but no drop frames quite yet. Think we're okay? I hope. Anyway. Okay, cool. The reason why you can get gas at gas stations. Oh, that's right. I remember you talking about this. You run the gas stations for like the US, right? All of the gas stations in the US, I'm pretty sure. Every single one of them. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, perfect. We got it set up before 9:30, the official start time. So we haven't even started and things are good. Things are better. We'll give it another minute just to make sure everything's stable. And then we'll get started here. So should we do story time for Showcase? It's been a while since Showcase has been around. I'm trying to think. Someone give me a good topic to talk about, and then I'll do story time. Because I probably have a story, regardless of what the topic is. Because that's just how we are. It's how my life is. It seems. Puppy story? Oh no, puppy stories. Yeah. Okay, so like the problem with the puppy is how do I treat my okay, I got lots of stuff to talk about. The puppy has kept me up like crazy the last few nights because she likes to burrow under the bed in her crate And so we she's a puppy. We're trying to crate train her so that when we leave, it's not a big deal when she goes in the crate. And whatever reason, she likes to burrow under it onto the plastic, and then she just starts scratching the plastic and jiggling the whole crate, which wakes me up every time. But I have a new pillow, a la Muffin Man's suggestion, and I tried that last night. It was fantastic. And she slept outside of her crate in a bed. And so there was no noise at all. I slept great. I'm wide awake. I feel great. I don't know if we're going to be able to continue that because she's like still got to be fully crate trained. So we slight taboo there, I guess, with not sticking with the crate training. But yeah. How do I handle my lawn? Do my lawn? I need to actually start getting a handle on. I've been mowing it I always mow it myself. I got a nice John Deere ride-on that came with the house. I have a 30-year mortgage on my lawnmower. True story. The guy moved to Florida, and he's like, "Hey, do you want the lawnmower?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So he increased the price by like $1,000 on the house, but then we negotiated the price down to whatever we wanted. So I'm not sure we paid anything for the lawnmower, but technically, still I have a 30-year mortgage on it. I like to say. I did realize last week that I have not done an oil change on it since living here. I've been living here for 5 years. I think it's probably time to do one oil change on the lawnmower. Probably, right? I think it's like 3,000 miles or 6 years. Yeah, it's been good. Crate training is overrated. Doggy door. Yeah, I don't know. But then you have to put holes in your doors and stuff. Okay, it is 9:30. We are going to start on time. Actually, it's 9:31. Sorry. Tangents with stories and all that. We're going to go into This Week in Review, which was funny because I was looking at the numbers and I'm like, oh man, we were dropping so much on Friday. I was like, yeah, this sucks. The NLV, net liquid value of the port, is going to drop. And then it didn't. It actually went up. I don't even know how. I mean, it's a combination of all the premiums and stuff. But I updated this today. Let's change that. So yeah, we're still on the up and up. Still heading in the right direction here, despite having a couple of weak days and really a week. It was certainly not my highest, but also not the lowest in the list. Not a whole lot went on throughout the beginning of the week with waiting for an NVIDIA earnings. A lot of trepidation in the market. Premiums weren't particularly fantastic. The volatility was kind of still as we waited for the storm of NVIDIA to report. So when that happens, there are going to be weeks where there's just big events happening, and leading up to it, there's not a whole lot. But by the time the event happens, which was Wednesday night, you really only have Thursday and Friday to then capture premium. And Theta's already done a whole lot of work at that point. So the premium return you're going to get in a 2-day turn is not very much. But that's okay. You can do a couple of things. I sold some options further dated. I just waited patiently with some stuff. I've got stuff uncovered. I've got stuff covered going into next week and beyond, for that matter. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Right now, I'm about 35% cash. You like the bedtime story in the morning? Does that make it a wake-up story? Wake and bake? If they're brand new mowers, break-in period. Oh, whoops. Well, then maybe I should have done that sooner. Hey, Justin, good to see you. MDB. Is that you talking about Mongo database? Yeah, they're nutso. They were a good one to jump into if you were following them, by the way. We can talk about them in a bit. Anyway, still breaking the thermometer here. This goes through the year, so we'll see where this ends up. But it's been good. I've been pretty happy with our results so far. This week's percent below goal, 0.7-ish%, but if you average it all out, we're good. We care about trends here. We're going to have huge weeks, right? Like these ridiculous spikes, and then we're going to have some smaller weeks now and again, especially if we book losses. I still have some losses to potentially book, like UNH. I haven't decided for sure if I'm getting out of them or not. I'm personally waiting for a potential drop to 290-ish, which looked like it was likely at one point, but they're very flat all of a sudden, back in that same 300 channel that we were at before the last dip. And if they dip, I don't even know if I'll take the same full position. I'll probably shrink it down a little bit, or maybe I'll do UNHG again. That worked out pretty well last time. That came with a nice result. A lot of people questioned me selling it actually, which I found funny, specifically on After Hour, which I don't get because I made like 15% on it or something, and I was like, I don't know, it seemed pretty good to me, or 20%. And then it dropped. So like I think people again always think things only go up or only go down in the moment that they're going up or going down. It's a psychological problem that humans have. I just realized, I do have VXX on here. Okay, cool. Let's get into the trades. See if I'm missing anything. Wouldn't it be nice to sell Reddit for 60K every week? It would be. And we did make money on Reddit again this week. And in fact, I didn't actually pay attention to the last few minutes of the bell, but apparently Reddit's getting called away. My 225 calls are getting called away by 8 cents. It was all day in between, spiked over for a bit, and then just finished just above. I mean, look at that. I didn't sweat it at all. Like, this is fine. This looks like, look at that. It's like a heartbeat going up here. So yeah, the shares will go, and I'm going to sell CSPs probably at the same price again, or maybe I'll even get a better price. That's the thing about stocks. You don't especially in between earnings events, there's nothing saying that they're only ever going to move in one direction. If we look at the Reddit chart as an example, oh, it's so beautiful. This cup is amazing. Yes, look at that cup. I need to change my bars here a bit though. We're on 30. No, let's do a day. Oh, there we go. Look at that cup. I still can't believe how perfectly this followed all predictions, but now I don't have any new predictions yet. So we're kind of just in this learning phase of where we're at now. It went between the arrows and then around that right arrow. That's hilarious. So, I had a channel up to here. I should actually change this. I should move this to 250 because that's clearly the rejection channel right now. And I think we'll live here for a little bit. Maybe next earnings we'll have a little run up. You can see that we do have some reversal change here. This could be a great time to have had shares called away, because I might be able to get back in below the previous cost basis, which is again kind of the dream when that happens with wheeling. I know I'm not supposed to be talking about Reddit because it's not first on my list, but here we are. So we might as well keep talking about it. Let me group all of my Reddit trades together though, real quick. I keep making that mistake before I talk about them. There we go. Reddit. You can see I made 1 million trades on Reddit this week. And they net, what did they net? They net a total of almost 4,000. So they were half, which is crazy because they net half my return, yet they're only 20% of the portfolio in total that I'm messing with on selling options on Reddit. So that's over a 2% return. I'd say that's pretty good, Reddit. Maybe I should be doing more on Reddit. Yeah, I don't know. I could go up to 30% for sure. I haven't been because it's that gets a little scary. Yeah, the cup is beautiful on Reddit for sure. So for Reddit, I sold some. I sold a variety of things. Let's try not to confuse myself as I talk through this. I sold and bought back for next week 9.5. And I bought back because we were well above 50% return, or not well above. It was 55%. And I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's just take that cash this week, especially because it was a low week. Might as well get that extra return, a little bump. And then I'm going to resell them. And in fact, I think I did resell them for this week. I didn't go out to next week because we were still seeing good premiums. So then I sold another 400 for a 230C that I bought back as it dropped down to 210. And this was 80% profit. I forget the exact number. And then we had a 400 that were sold at, what was this? 225 CSP? Really? No, this is a CC. Okay. That was the one that we just looked at that got called away. That was the last play to squeeze out some premium. I thought I was going to look like a genius there, and we were going to finish at 224.90 or something. But Actually, finishing at 225.08 is even better because, again, if we have a drop next week, which seems plausible, I can get in at an even better price. I love it. Perfect. I did buy back a 210 CSP for like 90% profit. And then I also had another 400 shares CSP for 220. That was also a last minute that I paired with the 225C. So it was a very tight strangle of like either shares are getting called away or I'm getting more shares, and I'm fine with either. And I almost threaded that needle perfectly. I didn't get assigned shares here. I would have been happy with them at 220, but we did get paid $500 on it. And then finally, we had in my taxable shares, I had a low delta 240C that I let go to expiration. For a moment there, I could have bought it back at like 96% profit. Maybe I should have, but I got the extra, $20 by not buying it back. Cool. So that was the Reddit trades. I was pretty happy with those. And I think overall, Reddit continues to be by far my best performer. I do like to look at it on occasion on its own. Like it's interesting to see how often you play a particular stock. And apparently I filtered something wrong here. No? Yeah? There we go. There we go. And so, total value of plays here is a significant number. It's 130,000 just on Reddit plays over and over. Some of that is realized share appreciation a couple of times here, and like the growth helped as well. But if I just did premiums, I can get out of the shares and just look at CCs and CSPs, and $70,000 from premiums of Reddit alone. That's nuts. This year, that's just continually to wheel them. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here. I've almost made the entirety of my initial invest. I've made the entire of the initial investment of Reddit, which was 10,000 and 50,000. That has blossomed into a much larger number now through share appreciation. But I've also made that amount through the premiums wheeling Reddit. Insane. That's definitely a pat on the back type of moment. Where pretty proud of that one play. So not too shabby. And I know a bunch of you also kind of hang out with Reddit a little bit. Yeah, dude, like that's the goal though. If you can start hitting salary equivalent with wheeling consistently, that's the dream. That is the dream. So, and also I'm unemployed. So, that's important. I have to do that. All right. Then we had HIMS. HIMS had a CC at 48C, which was below cost basis. So when I had an opportunity to buy it back early, I did. And these were over a week. I sold these last week, expiring this Friday. So when I got the opportunity to buy back at 50%, I did. Could have waited, could have expired fully, but you don't know. So this is kind of just like a hedging, because at one point HIMS was running up during the week. So we can take a quick look at HIMS here. God, can you hear the caffeine coming out of me? I just can't stop like jabbering here. So we had a real nice spike here up into, whoa, that is not where I'm looking. We're way far out. Let's look at the 1 month. Yep. Make this look a little bit better. Okay, cool. So at one point, we were making really good progress this week. There was some positive news around healthcare and HIMS. This is actually consistent with a lot of the healthcare sector, not including things like Oscar, which is currently a meme and acting on its own and not really following the rules of the sector. But we had a nice set of higher highs and higher lows, and it looked like we were getting out of this, right? But then we started to break down here at the end of the week again, all the way back down to basically where we were, hitting another fib level, the 618 fib, and finding support there, which is good. I don't know. I think we may just stay in this channel for a while. That's fine. I'll probably keep risking some CCs below cost basis for a little while, and then maybe just roll out once if I need to, because I like HIMS anyway, so that's fine. But basically, I am underwater on the shares, but I don't really care too much because we're still generating income off of it. Now, it only generated, if I had let it go to expiration, it would have generated 1%, if not slightly better, off the original money put up against it. But instead, it was about 0.5, 0.6% that we got off of this capital deployed. But again, we were worried here when we hit up in the 45 range that, oh, maybe we're going to get assigned on these shares. So as we drop down to here, I think I sold way back here. I didn't wait till the end because you don't know. You can't know that it's going to continue to break down or not. But yeah, all of a sudden it was like, yeah, I don't know. This was a fake rally. Yeah, fake rally. So this trend was a little scary, but I think we're going to start reversing here and feeling our way back up slowly to this 45 range. It feels like we want to be around this 45 range. And I could probably see that with the VWAP. I wonder what the black line is at. The white line is 44. Okay, so it's pretty close based on the volume profile of where the stock really wants to be right now, working back to that 44. So as we get, I'll probably hold off on selling more CCs on this until we get back closer to 44, because the premium's just not going to justify the protection that I want for, up in this range, because my cost basis is up here, 55. Now, that doesn't include the premiums that have dropped my cost basis down, but I like to try to preserve my premiums and not have to use that to get out of a position wherever possible. And again, overall, I feel fine on HIMS. I think we'll end up at some point. You could say we're in the midst of making a cup here. I know I talk about cups all the time, and it becomes a joke at times. We can leave that. What happened to Fibs? Did I lose Fibs? Uh-oh. There we go. Somehow I deleted the fib extension, and we want to take that. I don't want to see it right now. I didn't want to delete it though. And turn off the cloud and turn off VWAP. Okay, so there is definitely a possibility that we're making a big old cup here. And I know that I love cups and all that, but to me, we're definitely having this kind of scenario play out so far, where it could look something like this, right? And I think I have to move this slightly for it to, really make sense. Or maybe it's a little tighter. Whatever. It doesn't need to be perfect for what we're doing here, but I could see us potentially having a run back up here. And this is where when this happens, unless something has fundamentally changed in the stock, which you could argue has for HIMS, right? There's been some various forms of risky sounding news, and maybe the cup's even up here. But I do think we're going to end up filling this out, coming back up probably all the way, because that's just what we do with him. It's like that's like a rinse and repeat. We hit these peaks until we hit a certain market cap valuation repeatedly. And on the macro, I feel pretty good. I think we're just fine. We got to give it a little bit of time, and that's the beauty of wheeling, is we can be patient. All right, the cup's actually definitely a little bit lower here when we look at. There we go, something like this. So we'll see. I would say this was a cup and handle here with a little spike up before dropping. This was the Noro news right here before coming back up to where we were. And then, so we're just going to continue to oscillate is my guess. No concerns from me. We'll keep wheeling it, and looking forward to getting some juicier premiums back here. Most likely, I'll continue to look towards like 48 to 50 as a target price for HIMS CCs, and just close them when I have the opportunity to prevent the risk of them running up over. Or if it looks like it's going to run up, just close them on the way up and be done with it. That's totally fine too. Size doesn't matter, right? Well, you know what? I think it does. I don't honestly know the specifics of like ideal time length for a cup. You can have some of these patterns are things that you look at on a daily chart, right? And I think cups and handles can happen on a daily or a monthly or a yearly or whatever. In fact, there's definitely been cup and handles that have happened over multiple years. Reddit was a long one, right? The Reddit cup was 6 months ish. It was February to, no, it wasn't. It was March to July. So 4 months, April, May, June, July, 4 months. And then there's been some others that we've talked about over, I don't know. I think they've had like 1 year cups, even larger. So it's just a tool, right? It doesn't mean anything. It's fun when it happens to work out as perfectly as like this one did. but it's not always the case. Bull had some cups here. Bull had some big ones and some small ones. This was the first one we drew. We looked like we were going to have the second one on Bull. Let me look at the 1 month here, and it really was kind of forming that pattern. And earnings, I thought, was going to be what spiked us up, and it did briefly before dropping into where we are now. Well, we'll talk about Bull in a few. But yeah, cups can happen. Where is the end of the cup? Which one are you talking about, Showcase? Oh, hymns, right? Sorry. I think the end of the cup on hymns is going to be out in September. End of September, which would be in line with, when was earnings? Earnings was August. So yeah, that's not even near earnings. Could be a bit further, maybe early October is where we'd be looking to come back up here. But again, no guarantee. We could just see. We're at the point where this could inflect, and it with this squeeze mom trend reversal tool that we've been using recently, it gives some indication that could be the case as we look a little bit more closely into it. We're peaking on the bottom of the red here, potentially, not for sure. It could go further. But if we are, this could be a good entry. If I wasn't in hymns right now, I'd be in hymns right now. That's basically my view on it at this exact moment. You still playing Elf Showcase? I thought, that was Foobs that was playing that one too, right? Let me look at Elf. On the daily, huh? Let's look at the daily. Oh, this? No. I wonder what you're talking about exactly. We'd have to probably look at let's look at the 1 day. This? I don't really see anything that stands out. Like maybe you could call that, but I don't know. That seems tight. Yeah, weekly. Okay, let's look at the weekly. Well, I went to 3 months and just ruined everything here. Screwed it all up. Maybe. I don't really see it here. Maybe this? No. Oh, maybe here. Okay, maybe. I don't know. This is kind of sharp. This is more of the V-shape recovery, and I can see where you could look at this as like a consolidation into a spike up here. I don't know. You gotta be careful not to read too much into this stuff, of course, because you can make yourself see things that it's like a Rorschach card. Who cares what you see? It just means you're mentally unwell half the time when you say what you think, because it doesn't happen. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there. It's been consistent. That sharp week was weird. There was no news. Yeah, I don't know. It could have been some tariff stuff, right? I did read that Elf, and in general, a lot of the makeup, who was telling us that? A lot of the makeup is manufactured overseas, with limited makeup manufacturing occurring in the U.S., which could coincide with certain tariff announcements, especially in certain countries. I don't know how true that is. I'm regurgitating what I've heard elsewhere. All right, that's it on hymns. We'll look at next week for a good entry point, like I said. And then we made a silly purchase on ARCAT and managed to make $200. Let me look at where's the chart? There we go. ARCAT, I don't even have ARCAT on my watch list anymore because it's silly. Silly stuff. Whoa, I drew a cup on ARCAT though. Oh, wow. That's happening. So this one is clearly happening. I don't know when I drew this, which means that, prediction could be true here. I no guarantees we're going up here, of course, but that is definitely a cup and a consolidation handle. And I swung trade this from 875 or something, 887 I could have sold it at, no, I'm on the wrong day. This is months. This was like a 1 day play. It was over here, way in here. Yeah, 887, and then I sold it at 903 or something. Whatever. I just wanted to make a couple bucks off of it, and it worked. It was fine. It was a silly play, but I I don't think I'm going to play this cup and handle that I've drawn, but I will pay attention to it that that this could be a thing. Apparently, I drew this the end of last week or beginning of this week because, yeah, that I had to have hit this other line here. I couldn't have made that up perfectly. So, yeah, I just forgot that I did it, and it is consolidating. It is not following ONS, which is actually interesting. Let's look at ONS real quick. Another drone company. We did draw a cup and handle on ONS though, and wow, that one hit. That one hit exactly ish. I guess I should have been way more aggressive with a God arrow here, but that was. Here's a good example of a cup and handle that hit. Right, we consolidated, and then I mean realistically, this should have been out here a little bit further with how I drew it, but. Yeah, we are spiking to unheard of territory. I'd be scared to jump in here. I don't like, I don't want to FOMO in, and at this point, I usually just take it off my watch list to not look at it, to be honest. So in the inevitable correction, or in the case that there's no correction, I'm just staying out of it, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with missing out on gains if it means not losing 50% on my investment because we correct back to where we were back to this top of the cup. This scares me, this type of stuff. I just do not touch, do not play. I don't like it. Walmart. What are we talking about? Oh, sorry. I got to catch up on chat here. You guys are going off. Reading the tea leaves. It is reading the tea leaves. You're right, Kate. And it's hard for men. There is a so here's my general thought on TA. A lot of people say it's essentially astrology, and that's true in that no matter what your chart says, the next day doesn't have to happen the way the chart says it's going to happen. It just doesn't. All that we are going off of is there is a statistical correlation that these things happen in a certain way. Because based off of history, these patterns emerge with X result more so than Y result. That's essentially what we're doing. So we're trying to give ourselves a little bit of a statistical edge to gain conviction in the plays that we're making. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, all it takes at the end of the day is a CEO blasting out a tweet that just tanks the stock or shoots it up. It could have nothing to do with technicals. Who cares about technicals? But it is an approximation for human emotion of participants in the market. That's how I look at it. And so when you see these things, just use it as another data point. It should not be something that you gamble on unless you do what I did with Arcade. And you're like, whatever. Let's roll the dice once for a very small position. Maybe we make a couple $100. Maybe we make a couple $1,000. That happens sometimes too. But maybe we're going to bag hold. And, you got to be okay with that side of the equation. But that's all it is. I think it's important to remember that. Hey, Muffin made it. It's so early. Dude, the pillow was good. The pillow was good. The one that has like the nut holder in it, I used it. It was really good. I put my head on it, by the way. Elf's own line is probably Walmart. Huh. Okay, I'm looking forward to some DD, Mr. Showcased. The energy at the moment. Yeah, that is a good way to put it, actually. I like that. That is a good phrase that is appropriately connected to TA, for sure. Yes, people's behavior is predictable in that they are unpredictable. I mean, that's why algorithms work, right? Like, because people are predictable. All right, am I caught up? You travel with the pillow? The same one? Oh, nice, dude. I think Muffin said he ships it to wherever he's going. I'm sold. It worked on day one. It felt good. Which, by the way, Muffin, I think I'm going to put that as an affiliate link on the Theta Daddy Discord of people buying pillows. Buy a pillow and give us some a cut of that. We're not going to share it with Muffin Man, who's actually the originator of the idea. A memory foam with the dip. Yeah, that's what I got too. It looks like an upside down troll bridge. One of those blocks, the bridge blocks, but upside down. It's pretty good. Oh, you okay? We will share the link. Actually, Muffin, do you have the link? Hey, Turntron has made it. Nice. I know the picture. You cut yours in half. That sounds like a terrible idea. I had an Amazon affiliate link for the books. We made $2 off of the books that you guys bought. Thank you so much. I don't even know how to split $2 three ways. But Amazon denied our affiliate program because I didn't have it on a website. So like, you have to have it publicly available or visible on a website. Apparently doing it through Discord didn't count. And like I linked the Discord and I don't know, it was public, people could see it, but they now have denied me from being able to do affiliate links for Amazon, which is both silly and I don't really care because, you know, it doesn't really generate money. It might buy a beer every 6 months for us type deal. But yeah, we tried. Oh, you guys are going off on pillows. All right, enough pillow talk. We're going to go back to what we were talking about. So the Arcot swing was silly, made $200, never going to touch it again. I keep saying that. It's like after a bad night of drinking, you're like, I'm never going to drink again. And then a week later, you're like, oh, Arcot. Oh, okay, fine, one more time. ASTS was another good one. And it was weird because ASTS took off like a rocket, as they do. And, oh, there we go. We actually managed to, let's get to the week. On Monday-ish, we shot up to above 50, which was great. We'll turn the fibs back on. Let's do fibs and cloud. We shot up back up to over 50, and I sold at around 51-ish, 50C for $1.80, so like 3.5% return, something like that. I was really happy with that. And then we just like slow burned down all week long to NVIDIA. And then it was like, oh, great. And I was like, whatever. And we ended up finishing below 50. So I bought those back for 6 cents each, which I think I put in the spreadsheet. Sometimes I forget to put in the closings for like pennies. No, I got them. And, 97% return on that of profit. So I was pretty happy. And then we resold it for next week, which I apparently did not put in here. Whoops. Well, that's a shame because that is a thing. That was about the same, and the price was something like $138, if I remember correctly, for next week. Same, $50 is what I wanted to do, and I'm happy with that too. This was 9.5. So, we've got something laid out for next week already. If it is sold, we've got $1,200 plus $800, so a $2,000 trade because of the appreciation in share price. So whenever you can sell a CC essentially at the money, or especially $1 away is totally fine. When I think it was 48.50-ish, 48.70 when I sold this, something like that. So when you're pretty close to the strike, you get the best amount of premium out of it, of course. And I was very happy with that result. I'm totally happy with these shares getting called away. This is open. And that is actually, it should be on the dashboard here. Oh, it's a CC. That's right. Those are CSPs that show up there. So we've got that laid out already for next week. And it's like a 2.5% trade, but 4x that or 3x that. No, 2000 is 2.5x that if we end up getting shares called away. And that would be a great result. That's actually what I was looking for this week, which would have bumped us up to 1%. If that one trade went through and got called away, would have been a 1% trade or a 1% week for us. So, but overall, I'm super happy with it because I'm happy to sell it again. That is totally cool. And that's the beauty of wheeling. Like, you don't really care if it does or doesn't get called away. If it gets called away, cool. But that puts work on you for next week to figure out what you're going to deploy your cash on. If it doesn't get assigned, well, guess what? You could just resell the same option with very little thought. And like the opportunity to buy it to close it on Friday and resell it for next week was amazing. I love that because I can get ready for next week, max theta, right? Because I'm doing Friday instead of Tuesday in this case. with it being Labor Day on Monday. 3-day weekend, don't forget. So I get a little bit more theta in doing that, slightly better premium. And that's one of my favorite things to be able to do when wheeling. So again, pretty happy with that. That takes us down to Google. Google was just a simple trade. I sold at the money. It was 206. I sold at the money 205. Pretty close to at the money. Cash secured puts, 1%. That's all it is. This is like a separate account in Vanguard, so I don't like to look at it, and I don't care. I'm happy to get Google at the price. Happy if I don't. We finished at 212 on Tuesday. I'll probably sell CCs for 210. Pretty close to at the money, and hopefully I can get about 1% and do it all over again. And we'll just keep doing that until I eventually get shares of Google. Until it hits about maybe like $250 a share, then I might back off and start looking at something else. But Google feels like SPY. It feels like an ETF. It feels so safe. And to get 1% on something that feels like an ETF, I like. All right, back to pillow talk, I see. You got Frizz to get one? Nice. Dude, why don't you, Muffin, you need to like get a partnership going with these guys and Let It Work Girls or whatever, and let them know like you are peddling their stuff. Get in on that. 10% a pillow. Showcase, you were in ASTS? I didn't think you were an ASTS player. Fake company. Dude, I said that. I called it a meme company on After Hour, and people went nuts. I thought I was getting death threats at one point. Long weekend's good for free theta, but I know. Mondays are a little boring. But you know what? It forces you to like not think about the market, which is kind of nice. Kate closed out a call. Awesome. Nice job, Kate. You're killing it. I love it. Hey, I'm gonna do a real quick. It's not an advertisement, but just something we're gonna start doing here, and you'll probably get an email on this in the next week. We're looking to launch in the Discord a sell your first option course, 6-week course, 6 weeks to sell your first option. Really geared towards new people who haven't really sold one, because we're getting feedback from the people who leave early. They're like, I don't know, I never sold an option, and then I joined and I still never sold an option. And for us, we're like, why didn't you sell an option? And we get it that it's difficult for people to just go and sell it. So the idea is like a 6-week handhold course of week 1. We're going to identify companies that you want to look at to sell options on. Write out what those are. We'll give some guidelines on the stuff that's important. Write down like some basic due diligence type stuff. Week 2 will be picking strikes and expirations. What's comfortable? What are you thinking? What looks right? What's a price that you would be happy to own the shares at based on what you learned on the first week? 3rd week will be like, all right, click the button. Sell an option. At least 2-week expiration so we can see the following week. We can look at, okay, what's happened so far? Are you up? Are you down? Do you buy to close? Do you roll it out? Do you do nothing and let it expire? All of these options are options for the options. And then from there, we'll do a week 5 would be something along the lines of, okay, closing out. What happened? Review the whole process. What felt right? What felt wrong? What did you learn? There's going to be a lot of, every time you click the button, there's a lot of learnings. And then week 6 is real simply restarting the wheel, right? So, okay, you got to sign shares. Awesome. Time to sell cover calls. Or you didn't get shares. Okay, do it again, right? Try to get them again. Maybe you go a little bit closer to the money. You find out from your learnings that you wanted a little bit more aggression. That's totally cool. And this way we can hopefully get people really walking through the process with us. And I think that is going to be powerful, because one of the biggest things, I've met a buddy who's actually in the Discord, a friend of mine that came out to visit a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, hey, how do I use the Discord better? And so we were talking about all that. And then we got to the point of the hardest thing was clicking the button for the first time. But once he did, he was like, that meme of the guy with the explosions in the universe behind him of, this is amazing. I learned so much. Oh, by the way, I bought options instead of selling them. But you know what? $100 of tuition. He learned a lot in that $100 of tuition of buying an option accidentally. So ideally, we can prevent people from having to experience buying an option in order to sell an option, that type of stuff. But that's the idea anyway. Awesome. I appreciate the feedback there. Everybody's welcome to join. Put a link in and show you how to travel. Oh, you're talking about the pillow still, aren't you? You're in week 4 of this course. Yeah, you are. You started though, Erex. You started properly. We had at least had a little conversation before you kicked it off. But I'm glad to see it. I love seeing the first transactions happen because you can tell in the way people start writing about it, like they've gone through the process. The mechanics are important to experience at least one time. That's it. And you can make such a small gamble because it feels like a gamble the first time you do it. And then you do it and you're like, wait a second, what was the gamble? I'm happy with owning the company. So is it really a gamble? Like if you would have bought the shares anyway, what did we lose? Like what happened? What was the difference, right? Oh, I got paid to do this? This doesn't seem fair. This seems like cheating. It's like, yeah, that's why the institutions do it constantly and retail buys them. That's the whole trick. So it was great to see everybody do it. Okay, I'm off my tangent. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. More coming. Then we got Bull. Bull was a weird one. I was hopeful. Yeah, this didn't happen. I was hopeful that if they got assigned, I can delete this anyway. This was 1,500 if assigned. They were not. So I tried doing a Bull ladder because at the beginning of the week, we appeared to have a run-up to earnings. And I was slightly greedy, conservative is the word, where I sold the 17C at 30 cents, which was good. I tried to sell a 16C at 60 cents or 70 cents. And then I tried selling an 18 for like 20 cents. The only one that hit was the 17. And I ended up buying this back for a penny because I thought I might resell it. And because earnings looked fine, right? Like earnings was like, oh, okay, that was fine. We had a spike up overnight, up 3% at one point. And this never happened. I guess we can delete the, well, we'll leave it, whatever. We had a spike up for a little bit, but then we just dumped throughout the day. And I can't believe we're under 14. I find that very surprising. We're back testing off of this 618, whatever this fib is. Whoops. And, that is like way back here where we were after the prior cup. Now, it was all well explained, I thought, in the notes. I didn't watch the live cast. I heard it was underwhelming, and that's a problem, right? That is actually a problem that they need to figure out. But at the same point, I don't worry about anything that I heard. The financials look good to me. So I will continue to wheel Bull. I do wish we just stayed flat, but that's not typical to stay flat after earnings. And right now we're like below all the moving averages, just for the day though. And so, really next week will tell us a lot if we're going to slow burn down to say 12. And if that happens, I'm just going to add another 3,000 shares, like another third of the position, because I like Bull long term. I didn't see anything scary. I may wait a little bit before I add to that position, but it seems totally safe to do that. And this is just how Bull is. It's such a new stock. It's very volatile all over the place. And that's okay. This was like a triple top drop. That's fine. Into a cup in the handle that didn't go up the way I thought it would. But yeah, this is most definitely a bearish pattern. But going into earnings, I thought we would fix that problem that buy resistance that we had over here. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe we're making another cup. Maybe this wasn't the actual cup here. Maybe the new cup is something like, I don't know. Boom. Yes, that looks good. We're gonna leave that. That's the new cup. If that happens, I could very much see this happening based on historical, right? And often Bull goes up along with the market. Hood is also down right now. They've been depressed. We had a clear wedge where then we broke down here. I know Long is pretty deep in it among other people. I'm worried. I don't like Hood right now. I'm staying out of it. I've thought about buying Robin here a few times, and frankly, I'm glad I didn't because it's a risky play right now. It's definitely not where I want to see it. It's going to need some time to figure out a channel, in my opinion. No one likes consistency anymore. Yeah, you didn't beat by enough. Damn it. Draw a new arrow. Oh, I should draw it. Well, I have to. I guess I could. Hold on. Let's draw the arrow. We haven't drawn we haven't drawn any arrows yet today, so this is good practice to make sure I don't forget how to draw my arrows. With the cup that size, it'll probably be a handle somewhere around, maybe a little shorter, maybe here. There we go, right? And you know what comes next. The best part of this. Boom! Oh, we got green. I forgot to change it to green. Why did I change it to green? I did this for a green. I did for an NVIDIA. That's right. All right, we'll go back to blue, though. I do like the blue. The blue is good for classic arrow blue. Classic blue arrow. Which, by the way, nobody's noticed, but I changed from the white background to the black background finally. Like, I don't know why I couldn't figure out how to do this. But then I got the app, and it was very clear and easy, and that was good. Economic calendar. I do want to look at this real quick. I know it's irrelevant to what I'm doing exactly this moment. What do we have coming up for the U.S.? Core PCE price index. There's a ranking on. Oh, yeah, right here. This is a big one. PMI. This is all kind of whatever. Consumer sentiment. Who cares? Who cares? And then Labor Day. Oh, so that happened? Wait. I guess that happened. Or is that over the weekend? No. Oh, that happened. No, what am I want to, next week. I'm in the wrong calendar. Okay, now we'll look. US. We've got, nope, don't care. Manufacturing PMI is important. Nothing huge. I feel like there is something huge. Didn't Bob Dog mention something huge coming up? 30-year mortgage rates are always interesting to hear. Fed Musalim. How do you say that word? Musalim speech, whatever that is. Jolt's job openings. I guess that's important. I don't know. I don't see anything too exciting next week. So exports is kind of important. Imports kind of important. Jobless claims, standard. It's all regular stuff, though. Whatever. Okay, I don't see anything super important. Fed Goolsbee speech. I think they're just making up words again. Why do they gotta be like that? Average, don't care too much on these. Non-farm payrolls, yeah, whatever. That's standard, though. Whatever. Okay, maybe I'm missing something. Tariff legality, that is a big thing. But here's the thing. I don't think we're going to get any conclusion on that. That's going to run on forever. So anyway, I think we talked through Bull. Bull made another $1,000, $1,200. That's cool. And then we pulled ahead our Master CC, which I'm glad. I closed this because we actually spiked pretty close to Strategy's price here at 360. Ish. Yeah, we got real close to 360. And I'm like, man, I'm going to go in the money again right away. And then we slow burned off. So at some point over here, I closed it for pretty good profit. This was long dated. This was like October, that call. And that's the beauty of, like, you can do long calls and make money on a stock that's pretty well depressed. I made $1,000 on it. That's 1% of the cost position, more than 1%. That a 70K position. So like $1,000 on that's more than 1%. And this was not even live for 2 weeks. I think I sold this last week. So call it about 1% for the 7 days that it was live. And you can see how long dated options can pay you with the buy and close mentality. Now I did not panic. I did worry about this briefly here of like, whoa, Bitcoin spiked up, Strategy spiked up, everything spiked up for whatever reason on Friday of last week. And then we just dropped like a rock again. Now, I don't know what to think about Strategy right now. It's very surprising to me that we're in this range. Where's Bitcoin? Do I have Bitcoin here? I do. So Bitcoin looks pretty similar. Let's look at, I know there's a way to compare these together, but so Bitcoin is at 108, down from the highs. The problem is when Bitcoin was going up recently, Strategy was going down. Part of that is because of the way they were announcing their their like Bitcoin buying strategy going forward. And we've been on this like slow burn down from the 450 down to less than 350. If you follow them on like the subreddit, people are just going nuts over the subreddit MSTR, and it's kind of comical. Like I'm an owner of the stock, but people they assume that it's just not allowed to go down because it should mirror Bitcoin so closely. But there's a lot of nuance in there, right? Of how you come up with the valuation of a treasury business that, by the way, is not like super common. It's the first one, and that's why the premiums have always been insane. Because look at the chart, it's insane, 240 to 500 basically, right? Like that's nuts. Where do we peak? 540? Oh my gosh. So let me change this from an hour to like a day. People are still figuring out how to properly price this, and as the Bitcoin life cycle changes and strategy changes, it's just this continual like refinement of who knows. So we're down right now. I can't explain why. There's this whole like NAV versus net asset value compared to Bitcoin being a multiple of it. Why would you pay more for a multiple of it in strategy versus Bitcoin itself? Well, the idea is that they're accumulating Bitcoin at favorable prices averaging in. So over time, you get like a compounding multiple versus owning Bitcoin. It's essentially a leveraged fund of Bitcoin to some degree of percentage that over time will slow down, like slowly asymptotically approach Bitcoin returns, I would think. But I don't know. I don't worry about this at all right now. I think we're at a low point. I'll probably keep selling further out options and buying them back when the opportunity arises. I may wait a couple of days to see if we have a favorable bounce, say Tuesday, Wednesday. But if we don't, I'll just look out to October and November for my next sale. Now, November would be after estimated earnings, and that's going to give the best premiums, but also the most resistant to change when we're this far out. So things to balance, things to think about. But if there's a drop, you'll be able to buy it back. If there's a spike, you'll be able to sell for better, right? Just have to have a little bit of patience in this type of position. And I don't own or want to own any Bitcoin direct, but I just like playing Master. I don't know what it is. Like Master has gotten me paid. If we look at I call it Master. I know. If we look at strategy over time, for me, it's been good, especially if we take out. We'll leave the shares of what we've bought and sold at because that's been part of it. I mean, yeah, 24K over the last few months, just doing a couple contracts at any given time. At one point, apparently I had 6 contracts. That seems heavy. I must have been panicking a little bit there. That's too much. I don't want that much Master. I want less than that. 2 to 3, maybe 4 contracts is about what I'm comfortable at with strategy. Although, because I'm only at 2, this could be a point where I average down. I'm going to think about that actually for next week. Because again, I'm still at 30% cash here. That could be a good strategy for strategy. I hate how often I have puns on these names like bull, strategy, etc. It is what it is. But that was the last play of what I bought and sold this week. I did sell a couple for next week. We've got CoreWeave, which keeps making me sweat throughout this week as I keep thinking like, oh, it's about to hit. And then it's like, oh, no, that's the next week option. What is wrong with me? But yeah, this is a nice little, it's not really 3% because I sold it midweek this week. So it's kind of like 2%-ish, something like that. But we've got $2,500 lined up already for next week. We've got this silly play for mid-September thanks to the analyst. I don't know enough about the stock, but I liked the name, and I was like, yeah, we'll give it a shot. It is something metals, core metals, or something like that. And he had an interesting take on it, where I was like, okay, we can give this a shot for less than 1% position because it's so, it's just so volatile, as you can see here. I don't know why that word was escaping me. And I drew a cup on it before I bought it, which clearly we're heading towards the handle here. I plan to buy back my CC in this consolidation period, if possible, for $10 CC. And we don't have earnings for a while, I don't believe. So that might be an opportunity before. Ideally, we have the God arrow way up here. They've been there in the past, by the way. If we zoom out, you'll see where they came from. And his theory on this was based on the fact that they are critical metals. They are non-energy minerals, precious metals. He thinks with the tariff stuff that this company that is U.S. based is going to see a lot of growth. My classic, this is not financial advice. Do your own due diligence. Don't just listen blindly to what I say or what you hear here. This is just what I am hearing from others that I'm thinking about. I may or may not act on it myself. Obviously, if you're in the Discord, you'll see whether or not I act on it. This one was not posted in the trade channel. I just put it in my channel because it is a little degenerate in nature, having not done enough due diligence myself. So I couldn't in no way say that I put the effort into investing into this company from an investing thought process standpoint of due diligence, then invest. This was like, yeah, this sounds like a fun gamble. Boom, throw a couple hundreds at it and see what happens. So it is already, though, kind of exhibiting the cup and handle thing, TA, that we like to show here. And we're bouncing off the 1618. Not that clearly. We went above it, actually, for a bit here. But I think, or we opened above it, closed below it. So I think there's a shot. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, we're near all-time bottom. So I'm okay with it for now. And the premium is high. The premium was like 10% or something ridiculous. So what are we at? 1620 on, 325 on a $7 stock. Insane, right? So we'll see. Oh, that's CoreWeave. Why didn't you guys correct me? It's 130 on a $7 stock. And I think I bought 1,000 shares as well. Did I put it in here? I did, at 660. So, we're currently slightly underwater. That's fine. I don't really care. If it were to drop to like $2, I would consider DCAing down just so I can get out a little bit easier on an upcoming spike. But we'll see. Then we still got the Lily play live. Catch up on chat, see if I missed anything. It'll be months. With leaps, what are you looking for? Okay, let's talk leaps. I got a couple leaps here. So here's the thing. This one's a lotto ticket. Yeah, that's true. When selling leaps, usually I look at buying leaps when selling leaps look like they suck. What that means is you can't get good premium for it. And if you can't get good premium, if it doesn't feel good to sell it, well, that's generally an indicator that it might feel good to buy it. So that's what I look for in considering something for leaps. I looked at selling CCs and CSPs or CSPs on TTD, and I was like, nah, I don't like it. Like $50 at the money was paying 0.5%. And then I was like, boom, wait a second. What do leaps look like? And selling them weren't that great. This is out till like this 1275 looks expensive, but it's out till June of 2026. So like percentage wise, we can do the math here real quick, right? 1275 divided by $50 is 25% return. I don't think that's a great return on the put to sell because that's annualized. It's already annualized. In fact, it's even worse than that because it's a year and a half, right? Oh, no. It's slightly better than that because it's like 9 months. So whatever. Annualize that a third more. Maybe it's like 30%. I would not generally sell an option for 30% annualized, but I would buy one for a company that I think is undervalued for what it's doing. And I think Showcase, aren't you a TTD fan? Or was that somebody else? So in this range down here, we have some gaps that I highlighted on this one. But in this range down here, somewhere over here, I made a cup. Why did I make a cup? Let's look at the month. I did make a little cup. And it did do a cup thing. But like, let's be honest, this isn't really a cup. This is, and not something I was going to act off of anyway. But in this range, I bought in the money calls to get a little bit of intrinsic value versus extrinsic. So what that means is, like, say a stock's at 51 and you buy a call at 50, that dollar is permanent, right? That dollar is not going anywhere. Whatever you pay above that is extrinsic, and whatever it goes up to from 51, say it goes to 55, now you have $5 of intrinsic that won't be taken away. And the extrinsic is whatever's on top of that. That's essentially, extrinsic is like capturing the IV, essentially, of an option. So I bought an in-the-money call way out with the thought process that, we're at like, not all-time lows, but we're pretty low here. And the general theory or thought process in the Discord was this should be a bullish stock long term. I mean, look where we are compared to, let's look at the 5-year. Yeah, we're just at like a 5-year historic low. It's kind of like buying Boeing when it was at its, after it killed a bunch of people, whistleblowers and stuff. We should be at a point where we're bottoming out, and ideally we're seeing a trend reversal. But we need to give it time, right? I don't know how long this is going to take, but 9 months seems like enough time, or almost a year seems like enough time to get back into a nice position here. And because I have so much intrinsic at $50, if we go from 50 to say like 95, well, that's $45 minimum that it will be worth beyond whatever the premium on top of that is, right? So I bought it so that would be $4,500 per contract divided by the $1,275 I paid. We're looking at a 350% return if 95 were my target. And I think 95 could be a target of when I would sell. I think it's totally reasonable based on history here that range, maybe it's 80, whatever, somewhere up here. That's probably when I would have an ideal exit. Or if we start getting close and, next earnings cycle isn't great, because we're looking out to basically this point here on the chart. If earnings just stays low, multiple earnings in a row, well, then maybe I cut bait at 20% gain, whatever. It's a small but leveraged position, so you benefit greatly as a return on the money on leaps, which is what I like. Am I normally buying leaps? No, I only have a couple of leaps, and they're not common for me. Typically, I only have 1 or 2 open at a time, and I've gotten screwed on leaps too. I did leaps with Lulu, that Showcase knows, and I ate shit on that one because Lulu is a garbage company that just attracts you by those tight pants. And yeah, I sold them here. No, where was it? I'm on like the wrong chart. I sold them here, and then we had this slow burn down. I bought leap calls, and we had a slow burn down here, and then I bought leap puts and almost lost again, but managed to get out for like 20% gains before this bump up happened. And I didn't go far enough out. So there's like a lot of things to consider with leaps. I don't think 3 months or 6 months are considered leaps. I think 9 months to like 2 years, those are leaps. That's what you really want to be considering if you have this type of thought process in your mind of opportunity that you want to go after. Gives you the most amount of time. What's going on? Agalton? I don't know how to say your name. They need to buy Aloe or Vuori. Yeah. Vuori is interesting. All the ladies that I meet at the bus stop when I get the kids, because it's me and a bunch of women in the neighborhood at the bus stop. They talk about Vuori. I don't know how you say it. Is it Vuori? Whatever. They don't talk about Lulu anymore. I'm like, maybe I need to, Yeah, you watched it slowly burn. I know you were there. Their quality eats margins. Really? So is it returns you're talking about in terms of their quality eating margins? A lot of returns? Interesting. Yeah. No. I lost once. Okay. I almost lost twice. I lost once, but I lost once pretty bigly. It was like $5,500. I think I let that one go to zero. I might have bought it back for $100, but it was originally, well, I have it on the list. It was originally like a $3,500 play. I don't want to look at it. It's going to bring back PTSD. We're not going to look at it. So right now I've got TTD 5 of those contracts, and then I also bought MRK. This was a suggestion from. Did I put them on the list? Not yet. I got to add them actually. I put them on. I bought a single leap based on Average Advisor's thought process here, and I like the play. Now, if it drops back down to here, I plan to average down. That's why I only bought one contract. And this is something I love about options. Position sizing. Don't go all in. Just do a little bit. Because as you see often in the Discord when I communicate a trade that I make, people get better fills than me all the time. I do it sometimes to I'm on Long's Patreon. And I highly recommend it if you're not on it. It's awesome to get insights from a guy who became mega rich selling and buying stocks and options and all that. But I see his plays and I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait. And if I can get that his price or better, then I'll jump in. And so it's extra conservativeness on a conviction that you don't necessarily have the same of. So you have to consider it that way of okay, maybe I'll do that, but only if it drops a little bit further. Louis Vuitton does it all the time, by the way. He does it all the time. He's like, yeah, I like it too, but I'm going to wait. I think that's genius. That is the way to go if you don't have the conviction that the person who entered the play has. And then enter small, enter slowly, and give yourself an opportunity to average in, up or down, augment your play so that you feel better about it as it changes. And you feel like you have the power and autonomy to make changes without feeling like you're broke. A lot of clothing brands outsource work and go with subpar cloth to expand margins. Okay. Oh, they switch manufacturers. Got it. Ah, okay. That's good to know. Who is Prime? I don't know Prime. I don't talk too much because in his Patreon because our Discord is so active that that takes most of my attention. But every once in a while he'll say something, it'll pop up. I'll chat. I'll talk a little bit. Eureka. Who is Eureka? Smaller luxury brands have switched to Spain. Really? Spain? God, that seems like margin erosion, but who knows? Yeah, interesting. We should talk about that in the Discord later of what other brands are, especially public, would be considered potential opportunities to jump on such a transition and what that means. Lulu makes your legs look good too. I've always heard that they make good menswear, but I've never bought any of their stuff. Do they? Spain does? Dude, so I've not been to Spain, but I just assumed they were Parisian costs or, France. I guess I could have just said French. They source most of the leather. It goes to China to be assembled. Ah, okay. Yeah, so I've been to it's interesting because I've been to a lot of UK factories, why are there so many factories in the UK when they're so expensive? But it's a thing. So I guess it's not surprising, but it is for clothing. It is for clothing that surprises me. Very interesting. Okay, I am losing track of what I'm doing again. I had one other thing to talk about. So we talked about Merck. Oh, I didn't actually look at Merck though, did I? Oh no, I did. We talked through that. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll average in to 200-300. The price is good. If this drops to 850, I might buy another. And again, they're far out leaps. So I'm finding myself slightly more interested in leaps the more I do this. I think it's a good augment to the wheel strategy and just something that chugs along in the background that you don't really have to pay attention to. But every once in a while, you're like, oh, look, I'm up 30%. That's cool. Should I sell? Nah, hold it for a little bit longer. We got 9 months to go. So we got Lilly still going. Nothing there. They've just been flat for this week for the most part. Flat, slightly down maybe. Nothing concerning. They stayed very stable despite the market not this past week, which I thought was a great sign. Let's get this. There we go. Yeah, I mean, okay, slightly down here, right? What am I on? I don't want the 1 minute. Let's do 2 hours. That's fine. And then you can see a little bit more clearly August. This past week, very flat, right? So we had a nice increase up here. I'm still holding my Lily X. And my target hasn't really changed. I still think we're going to end up in the 750s very soon. And ideally, this range here is where I sell, where Lily X will be 15. And that would be a 50% gain on those shares, which would be nuts, right? I should make a target on this. So I've got the line here. Where's 15? Boom. Boom. That's our target. Okay. So let me just expand that a little bit because I don't know how long it's going to take. But yeah, this one's just been kind of cooking in the background. It's a great example of it's okay to hold a leveraged ETF. People say, yeah, but worry about erosion, decay, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that does happen. But, ultimately, it's not like this thing has been decaying into the ground when Lily's, it's very, very closely matches Lily, right? So decay's a thing, but I think you have to think of it in terms of what percent are you giving up to that decay. Basically, it's not exactly a 2x. It's a like 1.9x or something like that because of decay. However, Fidelity is a really good explanation of volatility on leveraged ETFs. I do recommend people read through that because there are situations in certain instances of volatility where the decay is pronounced. I just don't think we have to worry about it with Lily. It's kind of what it comes down to. I do think you have to worry about it with other stocks, Robin versus Hood as an example potentially, but Bull G potentially. But I'm not feeling it yet. That's my take on it. Okay, now you guys are talking about stuff I don't know. ZGN, LVMH. Are you just making stuff up again, Showcase? You want to hang in Spain? Yeah. I couldn't convince my wife to let me go to Miami. I'm not sure Spain's going to work. But I would like to go out there. I've never been. I would like to go to Spain for sure. Okay. The last thing for me to talk about is DEC. I didn't post this because I didn't think it was going to hit. But as we continue to spike up, I rolled out again. I did it. I did another roll. I know I said I wouldn't, but with the spike that we went to, I think it's clear that the channel is established at or better than what we're at. So I sold calls for January, which are not quite leaps, but they're far out. I mean, that's 4 months, September, October, November, December, basically 4 months at this point. So the thing is, it's a $10,000 return or 10%. And I just didn't want to lose the money. I didn't want to. I've just decided I don't want to take a loss on DEC. So I'll get 4,100 out of the premiums plus another 10K with that roll. 15,000 on the position seems okay. And then that return is basically 40%, which is acceptable. A little below like my minimum of 50% of what I'm looking for, but seems better than taking a loss. I kept doing the math and I'm like, I don't know, taking a loss just seems worse. It's not just 15K on 110. It's like 15K versus minus 5K. So it's a $20,000 difference on what my position was to where I'm going. Am I doing that math right? I might need to write that out and think it out a little bit differently. But that was my conclusion. So I should get roasted for that at some point. But okay, nobody cares about DEC anyway, it seems. So we'll just stop talking about it unless questions come up on it. All right, I need a 1 minute break. I'll be right back, and then we will talk anything else that you guys want to talk in chat. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry, we're back. Make sure the puppy wasn't destroying the house because, it's been an hour and a half almost that I've been doing this. Okay, any questions for. I'm over. Wait, what is happening? Are you guys making fun of me again for leaving? Terrible. Emergency at front door. Ah, no. You guys are so mean. Just like my puppy. Totally ruins the house now. The puppy. I shared pictures of that one. Should I get the puppy? Do you guys want to see the puppy? Would that be fun? I could get the puppy real quick. I'm going to have to leave for another second, though, to do that. No puppy? No puppy requests? All right. Oh, we got one request. All right, we get a second request, I'll get it. Otherwise, we'll go through some other stuff. Okay, I'll get the puppy. I was going to look at NVIDIA. Be right back with the puppy. Puppy. Whoa. Say hi. The camera's over there. Yeah, over here. Look, over here. See? See right here? Right? There you go. That's the puppy. Big fluffy puppy. She's a doodle, so I'm allergic to dogs and cats, but like, not this one. Nope, she's good. Do I smell okay? Well, I taste good. She's a good girl. A large puppy? Yeah, she's not that big. she's very fluffy. She only weighs 18 pounds, I think, despite like looking fairly large. So yeah, there's the puppy. Say hi. Apparently, you don't count as a human face on the NVIDIA thing. It's a girl. Her name is Willow. And she likes to chew on things, including me and my hands and my arms. But it's okay. She doesn't have those sharp puppy teeth anymore, so it's not that terrible. But yeah, no, she's a good doggy. Good doggy. All right, you want to go down, Willow? You can go down. She is an Aussie Doodle. That's exactly what she is. You got it. You are a dog breed connoisseur muffin, aren't you? Thought you only knew muffins, but no, dogs too. Good girl. You want to go? I know you don't like hanging in here that much. Okay, everybody has met Willow, the puppy. Now I'll catch up on everyone talking about how cute she is. Yeah, so Aussie Doodle, definitely fluffy. It's funny when we give her a bath, she like shrinks down to a rat. And you're just like, oh, there's not a whole lot of meat on you, is there? Aussie, the American dog that they name Aussie because we are so much more exotic. That's true. The NVIDIA of dogs right now. Yeah, so we live in a town where like basically all people own doodles of some sort, it seems. And somebody was saying, like, I heard it in the mom circle that that a man walking with a dog is married if it's a doodle. if it's some other dog, they're single. And they're so right. Like, that is 100% true. We might get another one. I want a corgi poo. My wife refuses. She's like, she thinks they look ridiculous. I think they're cool. I think they'd be fun to have one. But we had 2 dogs prior that I was allergic to for 15 years. They live forever, which is good because I love them. But I was just sneezing constantly with them around. And I had 2 cats, which I was deathly allergic to, also for over a decade. So I had like a decade of the lost decade where I tested my allergy system to the max every single day. They're an American invention. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I feel like what do they call them in Australia? They call them American Aussie Doodles, probably something like that. Anyway, all right. That was fun sharing the dog, talking about the dog. Any other questions on stuff going on? I guess the only thing we didn't talk about that I should talk about is VIX and VXX. Maybe we should do that. We've just been on a slow burn there, so VXX has been dropping like a rock, surprisingly, and that's not consistent with like the last year. Like if we look at the 1 year, we did drop as low as 41 throughout the year a couple of times, but then we just kept spiking to these ridiculous levels of 80 plus. So now we're down here and we just keep dropping, which by the way is like kind of how VXX works over time. Like it does drop over time. So it's just a hedge. I'm not sure I'm going to do anything with it because it is, again, just a hedge. And if it spikes up, ideally I get out in the mid to upper 40s. Like that was kind of the idea on this play. But I think a lot of people followed this a little blindly, thinking like, oh, he said hedge, let's hedge too. But then they got uncomfortable with where we've dropped to. I wouldn't say I'm uncomfortable personally. It's still just a hedge. And with hedges, the big thing to note is you only hedge a very small percent of your port because this can happen, right? And will happen over time. The idea, though, was that like maybe with some of the stuff that was in the works, we'd have another big old spike, which generally means like your overall port is dropping. But if your position doubles in VIX or VXX, it takes some of the sting out. And then you just sell. You just sell somewhere up here. And when you're up here, whatever you had, you convert to SVIX. And then you sell again. You buy SVIX, which is short VIX. And then you sell them when things come back down. Because you know that eventually it will. And that's it. It's not like that complicated of a play, but VIX is not well understood by newer investors, nor is VXX, right? Like, so when you see people do stuff with it, you just kind of, some people have just followed along, which you got to be careful about and understand why people are doing these things. If you're not comfortable, don't make the trade. Add it to your list, add it to your follow list, and just look at what it's doing. Or take a really small position of a couple of shares. That will teach you a lot. You don't need to do, I think somebody did like 10% of their port. I'm like, whoa, don't do that. That's too much. I'm at like 1 or 2%, maybe 1.5%, right? Like that's it. And I'm not going to add more at this point, even though I thought about averaging down with another 100 shares. I'm just not gonna. I don't care. See what happens. And then over time, you continue to split. And it's usually a backward split because of the way that it continues to drop. So yeah, just be careful with it. Feel free to dabble and learn about it, but I don't recommend people go all in on stuff like this. It's just not recommended. Okay. Now we're talking about kangaroos. Oh, I missed that. Kangaroos only punch if you're in the way. How do you people know this? How do you know? How are you experts on the topic of kangaroos and punching? You played with baby roos. What? That I'm a little jealous of. Just 10 shares, you see it in the port. Yes, that is great. Honestly, you don't even have to do a lot. Even a couple feels like a hedge. Do you guys see yourself? Do you feel famous now that you see yourself chatting on the chat, on the window, on the stream? You can see what the delay is pretty easily here. It shouldn't be much delay, actually. Yeah, I agree with all this. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? Because I think I have covered all the stuff that I wanted to cover. And, I see there's Discord questions too. Cool. I I should have been looking. I had that up the whole time, and I never looked at it once accidentally. Sorry about that. Oh, there you go, Alec. You're back on. There you go. You're famous again. And oh, whoa, whoa, what did that? That was not good. Now you just ruined everything. Thoughts on NVO? Oh, okay. NVO is kind of interesting because I don't like NVO. Oh, look at that trend. Garbage. What are we on? We're on the 5-year. Let's look at the 1 year. Yeah, this trend sucks. I'm not a huge fan of them or how they do business. However, they are one of 2 companies that have direct source and manufacturing of GLP drugs, I think. This is, I may be incorrect on some of this. I think Bob bought Leaps here. And I don't disagree with that. I think it's a safe-ish spot. And I think they have long-term growth potential. But I'm glad I've stayed away from them for a while. This is, that's gross. Like, I can't imagine dropping down here, continual drop. The question is, have we finally found a bottom? And I don't know, man. Hopefully. But right now, we're still in the cycle of lower highs, lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high. I don't know. So maybe if we see an actual reversal here, that's probably what I would wait for. You gotta look at it this way. If this stock went from the same price we're at right now, the 50s, to 150-ish, do you really care if you miss the exact bottom? If you think that like you're going to get the same opportunity? Personally, I think in these situations, it's better to see a true reversal. And this is probably something like in the Tao of Trading. 2 one-word reviews would be hilarious. We can do that. We'll do that after. But wait until you see an actual reversal before committing, because this doesn't mean anything here. Like we just saw this here, and I'm sure people here were like, oh yeah, look, we flattened out, this is the bottom. And then we did it again here, and it's like, oh yeah, look, for sure, this is the bottom, we're back up. Oh, we went up again, right? Oh, cup and handle down. Right? Like there's a whole lot of stuff here I just don't like. I don't think we've established, until we really get closer to this 200 moving average, I don't think we've established a true trend reversal, and there's not much risk in waiting for the reversal if you just wait for it. Like, why do we need to try to time the exact bottom with the risk of a continued breakdown? I prefer a little bit more of a conservative approach here, especially on a stock that I'm not a big fan of. And then you can feel pretty good with your conviction and confidence from there. Because usually at that point, you'd be following some good news. Like their earnings haven't been bad, right? They've been positive, but it looks like outlook's just been questionable guidance. So we'll see. Maybe by this next earnings, I would consider a little play here. We'll probably we have a chance to cross over by then. If this keeps dropping down to where we're at, we've got a solid chance of crossover before earnings. And then this could be a giant ass cup. I don't know, right? Like that could be a thing for sure. But again, why rush it? Why rush any of that? Could be, definitely could be. But the thing is with cups, like this could keep going down too, right? And going out. We just don't know yet. So I'm gonna hold off personally, and enjoy from the sidelines Bob's success. I hope that's what I hope for. I hope he makes money. I hope anyone in these plays make money. But I just, when it's your money at the end of the day, you have to be okay with the decision that you're making on this. So I think they've got plenty of long-term business potential and all that. Question is, have we found the bottom? All right. We'll do a one-word review of REGN, who I don't know what they are. Cop. uh, yeah, they do look better. They do look like they maybe have turned the corner here. Oh wow, they're an expensive stock. I didn't realize how much they were. There's potential here. This could be a one to look into. So the chart just gives you a feel for like, oh, maybe we would look at this, and then from there, I don't know enough about them. I'd have to read into them a bit to understand. Is there a case for bullishness long term? I don't know. Right, red earnings here, green earnings here. Good surprise to upside. That's cool. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe there's a case to be made here. I will add them to my list to look into. Yeah, I could say cup for everyone often, you know. All right, any other do glad. How did they do that? The guy was just, it was just like that could be a YouTube short right there on the chart. We do that. We'll be famous on our thumbs up, thumbs downs. We got to go back to NVO for that one. I need some good music in the background or something. ASML. Is this machine learning? No, more pharmaceuticals. Oh, I don't know what these people are. Electronic technology. Can you tell me what they... That's a definite couple. Can you tell me what they do in 10 words or less? That's definitely a couple, 100%. Oklo. Okay, you want to look at Oklo? I'll look at Oklo in a second. You use Robinhood to have a list. Oh, that's good to know. EUV lithography. What is EUV? Electron ultraviolet or something? I don't know what that is. Building machines to build chips. Oh, well, that sounds like good. We need those, right? Pretty sure. Oh, that's actually interesting. I could see a real good case for another expensive stock, by the way. This is like Lilly territory. Almost exactly. The same exact price right now. I could definitely see a very strong... How have I not heard of these people? Okay, this is a good one to look into, honestly. I like it. I like the idea. 90% market share. That's ridiculous. Dutch company, not many like them. Yep. Sounds that way. Look at Joby. Okay. First we got Oklo. We're going to look at Oklo. Okay, I can't do one word for this, but I'm going to just say Oklo, more like Oklol. Am I right? Because what the hell? Let's see. How much revenue have they made? Red. How could they possibly have green? Oh, they didn't miss as much as anticipated. Probably somebody quit and they're from the executive board and they had a positive surprise. Red. Let's keep going up. Maybe another one word is just an acronym, right? WTF is a good one for this one. I don't touch Oklo, dude. Terrifying. Just nothing. Like, idea-wise, great idea, but we have zero to go off of in terms of execution. Right? Even if you say, well, they're executing to their plan, well, great. But what is their execution to a manufacturing plan? As a guy who spent 20 years in manufacturing, there's a big difference between having a good plan for building to then manufacturing stuff successfully. Like Rivian. Rivian is a great example of that, they do great, they make great cars, but they can't execute on their manufacturing plan. So, like, they're never going to be good. If you can't make your product efficiently at a good price that is profitable to your plan, it's not going to work. You probably just need to start sleeping in the office like Elon. We talked through your whole workout. You're welcome. That was just for you, Showcase. Joby was the other one, right? All right, let's look at Joby. Joby is interesting. I didn't realize they had... Oh, I did realize they had a big spike because I'm looking at the time scale here. up to 20. I remember when they were like $5. There they are, $5. Somebody made some money off these bad boys. Do you have Muffin? Do you have a bunch of Joby? I know you have Archer. They did a share sale. Okay, that makes sense. What was their? How much did they sell? I'm guessing like billions, at least $1 billion, right? I actually like share sales. Ideally, not when I own the company, when I have a position. But like that is a favorite time of mine, to wait a few days, few weeks, let the dust settle, and be like, all right, now it's time to get in, because that's a bullish sign, long term bullish. Yes, it's an immediate short term cost to the business, but like they're capitalizing on the fact that they know their valuation is high, which is part of why it drops, to make investments, which then is the intent would be to get the valuation even higher, right? So like, ideal to take advantage of it. I think share dilution is generally a smart decision to grow a business. Why would you not take advantage of that if your stock is out of control? Do it. 60%. Oh, it was a bad sale? Why? What did they do? Like the price was bad? Let's look at the news here. More events. All news. Give me the news panel. Where's the news panel? No. Is this it? I don't click on this stuff enough. There we go. No. What did I do? I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm a trading view noob? This is terrible. I don't see it. 3 days. Oh, because it's too soon. It was a while ago, right? Is there news? I can't click on news for the day. That's too bad. Achieves first eVTOL air taxi flight. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know that. That's huge. How did I miss this news? So they must have done this. Okay, downgrades. That was August 8th. That was here. I don't see the sale. Did I skip over it? Maybe I skipped over it. It should have been somewhere over here, right? The 19th. I don't see. There was something on the. Yeah, this is just like clickbait type stuff. Someone sold. Who cares? Somebody sold 165K of stock. That's such a non-issue. Toyota has warrants. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about that one offline, because I don't want to mislead anyone with what happened. In general, I do find myself interested in Joby long term, but I agree, it just feels overvalued right now. So I'll probably wait a bit. The thing is, they suck to sell options on. Their premiums are never very good, and Archers aren't very good right now either, for that matter. But Jobies are always worse historically. So I don't end up owning the stock very often, and it doesn't do a ton, but it does slowly grow, and especially with this recent pump, that's huge. Maybe their premiums are better now. Actually, we could look at that. Let's see. Joby. Look at September 5th. It's too short. Look at September 5th and 12th. All right, so at the money is basically that's 2%. That's not bad. That's basically a 2% option. Okay, actually their premiums are not terrible. I might look at playing them a little bit here. 2% and 4% for 2 weeks. That's pretty good. We can play with that a little bit. Yeah, the calls are terrible right now. I keep looking at 11s, which are just way too far out for Archer. It's too, like, that's, you gotta keep in mind that's a 20% gain Oh, they finished it under 9. Wow, that's not good for them, or me, because I have 3,000 shares. But yeah, the sell right now is terrible for like cost basis 11. I'm never selling 5 cents on that. That's a 0.5%. It's a fairly low delta, but that's the problem, because when you're at these lower dollar values, so like conceptually, look at it this way. If you were to look at the same thing on an $80 stock, there would be 5 additional options in between each one of these lines. That's the difference, right? So from 850 to 9, there's only one, because the price is so low. But that means that jump is a meaningful percentage of the total value of the share right now, per share basis. So you go out another one, and again, that is a far percentage of change that you're looking at for the value, the premium that you're hoping to get. So you do still have really good premiums at this at the money rate, like a $9 call for 40 cents. That's really good. That's, it's a 4.5% return, basically, right? If you get somewhere in the middle on the spread there for a week, that's really good, especially with no catalyst going on. The problem is, we are looking at $11 cost basis for me, and I know some other people on the Discord. That's a 20% change that you're hoping for, more than 20%, right? 23% or something. So to get that change, yeah, there you go. You're just, it's so far away. That's not going to happen. And that's why the reward is very low for that. That's just how it goes. Well, my stomach's growling, so I'm going to wrap up here because I'm going to eat some breakfast that I never had. Issue is Archer isn't one you want 5 to 10% in. Yeah, I'm like 3% in it. That's okay. But I've been holding it for a while now as I watch it do nothing. So at some point I'll probably want to get out. Yeah, it is a lot of volume to get any return. Could be a good entry point though. Like I'd probably be looking at 850 CSPs if I didn't have any position in it. That's pretty good. That's a 2.5%er right there. You don't have balls to sell CCs under CV. Yeah, look, it's a personal thing, right? Like, what would be wrong with 10? Get 1%, and you risk for a weekly. You risk a little bit, obviously. I might do this. I might sell a 10 at like 13 cents. That's 1.3% return. Slightly less on the $11 capital that I the cost basis is. But I don't know. Are we finishing above 10 next week? Maybe do it on half your position. You don't have to do it on the full. Or you could sell this and buy an $11 call. Make it into a collar of sorts. Is that a collar? I think that's a collar. Right? That's something you can do too, where you use a portion of this premium to buy a further dated or further out call. You can experiment a little bit too, where you really won't lose a whole lot here if they're assigned, because this will obviously appreciate in price that you could sell it back for. Probably won't make up the full difference, but it's a little protection. But yeah, Archer's a little underwhelming right now. All right, cool. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up for today. Thanks, everybody, for joining. We went for, almost 2 hours. Lots to talk about. A lot of fun was had. A lot of pillow talk, puppy talk. Stock talk was obviously a loose third place for what we talked about today. And overall, I'm feeling good about our continued progress here. Wheeling, it still works. That's good news. I've had a great result personally. I know a lot of you have had pretty good results here as well who are on the Discord. If you're not on the Discord, come check it out. It's got a freeloader section for you who don't want to spend any money on it. You won't get the same level of service on those channels, of course, but at least you can dip your toe in a little bit, ask some questions. Our members are the best members of any community on the internet, I think, for finance communities. Most helpful by far. There's not a whole lot of that bro culture in our Discord. here and there for sure, a little bit. But I think we like to have fun. We like to make money, and we like to be positive. So again, check us out if you haven't. It's real simple, discord.gg/thetadaddies. And we'll see everybody next week. I do need to make some YouTube videos. I got a bunch of content that I want to make videos on, but I've just been lazy, I guess, is the only way to put it recently, and I haven't made the videos that I want to make. So hopefully I get out of that funk this week coming up, and we can make some new content explaining some other concepts that we haven't dug quite so deep in. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. So look forward to that, hopefully. Hopefully that was enough to convince myself, give myself a little bit of the dopamine hit of, hey, this is something you're going to do. Now go do it. We'll see. Otherwise, you all have a good weekend. Remember, it's a 3-day weekend. Spend time with the loved ones, with your puppies and dogs, whatever you got. Enjoy yourself, because come Tuesday, it's back to work, at least for the Americans here. For everybody else, well, sorry you got to work on Monday. Sucks. See you next week. Rise out.